Now, I originally saw Christina Ricci's post with the caption "Went out with a bang," with everyone in the comments gassing Misty up about being the final girl, with the comment I liked saying that it all started because of her and how now she needed to end it. Of course, like clockwork, I immediately started forming the story in my head where maybe Thaisa and Misty are hunting Shauna down, with Shauna somehow getting one over and killing Thaisa. But I then saw Tawny's picture with Melanie and Christina and realized that I don't think Thaisa dies this season. I guess she could before Misty gets a hold of Shauna, but with Melanie saying this on the Today Show,
It gets crazier.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Wow,
Yeah.
crazier.
It was, yeah. We were all just like, wow, okay. But it's a fun ending. Everyone gets a fun ending, so.
it makes me think I was wrong, which honestly makes me happy as it was in my first Yellowjackets prediction video that I predicted a bittersweet ending for Thaisa. Speaking of Ty, let's give her a closer look. It seems she has a scratch by her left eye with a puddle of blood dripping down from her scalp towards said eye. Yes, there is that smudge on her chin, but I'll get to that in a second. First off, could this be due to a fight with Shauna? Maybe Thaisa is holding her down and Shauna headbutts her? I only say this because if you saw my video on the production pictures, I mentioned Teen Shauna looking beat up and theorized if it could have been due to Thaisa, as I felt and feel that we need their friendship to deteriorate in the teen timeline for adult Thaisa's actions to hold more weight of going after Shauna. I also wanted to mention that if those injuries on Thaisa's face scar, to a lesser extent, they could resemble Van's. Anyway, is going after Shauna enough for Thaisa? It was Melissa who killed Van after all. I suppose this picture could be the three post-death of Melissa, who we know can put up a fight. I would just be disappointed if Melissa turned out to be more of a problem/threat than Shauna. When I saw Christina's post, the blood immediately caught my eye because, duh, but also unlike the blood from Thaisa's injuries, the blood on Misty looks to be sprayed on rather than coming from her. She does have what looks to be a cut above her eye and on her nose, which I originally thought maybe the three got into a fight, Thaisa and Misty trying to stop Shauna as Shauna fights back. But what about that sprayed blood on Misty? How could she have gotten that? So I then thought of the movie Fargo and how the guy in that movie was getting rid of the bodies via wood chipper. Could Shauna die by being pushed into a wood chipper? I know, it's a stretch. That is until I realized Fargo was released in 1996, the same year the plane crashed. With the show pulling from tons of 90s media, could it be that far of a stretch then? Then, while I was looking at the picture, I noticed that although it is hard to see because Melanie is wearing a pink flannel, Shauna also has what looks to be blood on her red shirt. The same blood from Thaisa's chin and Misty's face, maybe? But if Shauna has that blood on her, then this couldn't be from her death, could it? How would she spray blood on herself? I guess it could be from losing a limb, like their old coach, Ben Scott, or maybe, Melissa is the one to end up in the wood chipper, maybe pushed from Shauna. In my original theory video, I mentioned Melissa being the one to go after Shauna, as I imagine Shauna is on the run for being wanted for the murder of Anne and Lottie. But what if Melissa is just as crazy as Shauna? What if she is trying to kill Thaisa and Misty to be the one to kill Shauna once and for all? Or, like Shauna, tries to kill them all to make sure her secrets never get out. I only say this happens to Melissa because looking back at Christina's post, she said "went out with a bang" with an emoji of an explosion. What if Misty and Thaisa play mind games with Shauna by appealing to her need of finding Melissa and finishing the hunt? That's how they all three get sprayed on by Melissa's blood, just for Thaisa and Misty to then turn on Shauna. Maybe they try to push her into the wood chipper as well, but things go sideways, leading to a fight where Shauna goes after Thaisa, and Misty is able to slip away, going back to her car, trying to think of what to do when she notices a plastic hose. She smirks, remembering the flask in her car, a flask that could have been left in her car during her drinking arc of last season. She then shoves the hose down the filler neck, which is what you put gas down in a car, where she thinks of Natalie. Maybe we even get a flashback to reassure that her memory of almost lighting a guy's dick on fire with Natalie is where she got this idea to suck gas out of her car and spits it into the flask. Inside, Shauna strikes Thaisa, making her pass out. I could see this Shauna acting like her teen self after Lottie hit that guy with an axe. Shauna's smile is unnerving, but also the most genuine we've ever seen. Maybe Shauna is stalking around looking for Misty, taunting her like the girls did over the phone in the 1993 flashback. Like Van did, Misty is able to drag Thaisa out of the building, then locks Shauna inside, lighting the cloth she stuffed into the bottle before throwing it inside, leading to the building exploding in flames, like the cabin, burning Shauna alive, contrary to Jackie's death. But what do I know? These are just pictures after all.